Good morning and g'day mate, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, Jetty, and of course, the wonderful Mr. Icarus today. And today, we're on a new planet. We're on Black Box 1, because we finished covering Black Box 3 and just about everything we could. And it's got some traffic, it doesn't have a lot of traffic. We don't need it to have a lot of traffic. I think it is shipping off science. Where is... that direction, Mr. J. Yeah, it's definitely shipping off science to the Mr. J system. We are processing science, and we are trying our very, very hardest to finish putting together enough black box builds that we can get the gravity matrix. But before I do that, we're on a new planet, so I want to set up a few new things. What I actually want to set up is I want to set up a this is called the polar power, and it's the star version because it runs off artificial stars. Now, I want to talk and explain this blueprint before we get too much further. This lovely blueprint, let's try and sit over it a little bit. Okay, this lovely blueprint is designed for one of the poles. North Pole, South Pole, really doesn't matter. And it's designed to sit on the pole and provide power along with a way to import items for Icarus. Now, this is set up at the end game, so this is set up for artificial stars, okay? That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine if you want to run artificial stars. You might not have artificial star technology. You might have something a little bit more simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop down this blueprint and we're going to remove that belt because we don't need that anymore. And before we start importing artificial stars, storage. Cool. Before we start importing artificial stars, I'm going to turn it off. I don't want to import artificial stars just yet. So, the idea of this particular build is it brings in the middle, okay? It's going to bring in, well, no matter what, it's pre-configured to bring in Tesla towers and also bring in mining machines. Because it's designed for any planet you go to. You're going to want to, if you're using this particular blueprint, you're going to want power poles. You're also going to want mining machines, okay? They're just guaranteed, okay? You're going to need power poles to power up your planet. You're also going to need mining machines to, well, you know, do mining. On top of that, it provides some rudimentary power. So between the solar panels and the wind turbines, we're actually using the wind turbines as power poles themselves to make sure that the towers actually get powered up. And we're dropping down some solar panels basically to fill up space, nothing else. And we have, as the central tower brings in these two items, it's pre-configured to bring in conveyor belt along with sorters, along with assembly machines, if you want to use it to bring in belts and sorters and assembly machines. All you have to do is swap these over to remote demand and then away they go. Now, this does not have ships, does not have warpers, doesn't even need power, because what we actually have is on a different planet that's actually sending the materials here and using the power from the other planet and the warpers from the other planet to send the belt, the sorters, and also the assembly machines to this planet. Okay, our other options is our other towers. We have this tower over here. This tower over here is configured, ready to go to bring in the other required items if you're doing any outposting. So if you're doing any outposting, you're going to need logistics vessels. You may need drones, all depends on how you've set your individual planet, your individual setup, your individual style. Also is pre-configured, ready to go to bring in either interstellar logistics stations, also planetary logistics stations, also orbital collectors. And we're actually going to cut those down to just 100 of each because we probably don't want any more than that. And these are literally, they're a click away, okay? On the other side, we are bringing in warpers, okay? I'm bringing in at least 100 into this station. Now, the idea of this particular station is I can put small drones in here and then I can fly warpers out to an outpost like this one, put down my miners, mine my iron ore into this tower, put a ships in here, and set warpers, set it to 100, and set local demand, which will then mean a local drone will fly a warper, fly 100 warpers from this tower to this tower. This means this tower now has warpers. After we put big shippies in, they can then fly that iron ore, copper ore, whatever the raw resource is, back to our smelting planet. Okay, so still with me? Excellent. All right. Now, as I said, this is set up for late game. This is set up to bring in a belt's worth of antimatter. Now, Oh, it's also set up to bring in foundation, because you need foundation on every planet, let's be honest. And you want it nice, close, and accessible, so we're bringing in foundation. Now, set up for late game. I'm in late game, that suits me. You might not be in late game. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this blueprint over, and as always, all three of these versions, because we're about to do 3 different versions of blueprints, will be available in Discord. Always click a like on the video, tell me you like blueprints. We're going to change that over, and we're going to bring in deuterium fuel rods, okay? And we're only going to bring in 500? 500, should be heaps. Okay, and we're going to have that output deuterium fuel rods. We want to go into power. I want to set up this one with the mini fusion power plant. That's the one. We're going to bring a sorter in, and we're going to drag this around to, well, the other side of the pole, and then drag it around again, and unfortunately wait for some fuel to arrive, because we have no, we can make 30 megawatts or 40 megawatts. Let's have another one behind. Can I put one there as well? Okay, there we go. Now this system should auto boot. Okay, as you can see, mine did auto boot. As long as you can meet 10% of the power requirements for the 10% of the power requirements, the sorters will kick in and they will run. And that's something that I always try and strive to do. This is why I have used solar and wind turbines to fill in some of the gaps. Okay, just want to have a little bit of bootstrapping power, so to speak, just to have things kicking. Now, when you originally... Come on. Fine. We'll do your friend first. And then I'll just place you manually. Okay. When we first place this down, because each of these towers are trying to charge, and they are trying to charge very, very slowly, you're probably not going to have that 10% requirement. But as you kick in, as they fully charge up, they're going to bring in less power, so they're going to have lower power demands. As the power demand goes down, you'll get closer to that 10%, kickoff point, where eventually hopefully the solar panels and the wind turbines can power up any sorters you have, be it artificial stars, or be it just simple deuterium fuel rods. Okay, so as I said, this is going to be our first blueprint. Okay, we're going to copy this. I'm going to start on that side, wrap my mouse all the way around, and we're going to go there, and we're going to call this what was it? Polar caps lock. Polar power fusion. I think it's called a fusion reactor. We'll leave the description till later. We're going to set that to be that. We're going to change that to a 2-2 and put that in the corner, because I think that's more identifiable than the actual what are they called? Mini fusion power plants. Yeah, if I put where are they? There. Yeah, nobody's going to recognize that. Not even me. Okay, so this is going to be one of our versions. Okay, very, very happy with this version. This version is going to give us, what's that? 330 megawatts. 330 megawatts worth of power. It's going to be plenty for anything you might want to do. In fact, do we need 330? Normally aim for about 100 megawatts, although we are planning to power up towers with it. Alright, let's do some cutbacks. 125? 125. Let's go with 125. Okay, let's dump those storage, drag that up, drop that back in there, and bring that back down. 500. Cool. Alright, need to re-blueprint that. But that's a start. That's a start, gives us a little bit of power, gets us up and running on the planet. Now, we can see that it has, well, one, it had room to add more on the inside. In fact, you can actually go in, whoops. If the sorters like to work, occasionally they don't, but you can go in 2 to 3 deep all the way around in the middle. Occasionally you get a 4th one in, all depends on how lucky the game is. Okay, also we have a second port here. Now the second port, you have 2 options. I like bringing in, like, something bright and shiny and running that around the outside belt, or if you need more power, you can always bring in an extra lot of fuel and run it around the outside, and then start putting more reactors or fusion power plants around the outside. So the power is scalable, and that's what we're really looking for. We're really looking for blueprints that are very, very much scalable time and time again. And you know, just gotta hit tab the right amount so it sort of lines up, or just don't care and just put them wherever you feel like. Okay, so that's one pole done. But we have 2 poles in this planet, so I think we're gonna need another blueprint. Can we? Nope, nope, nope. Let's go with that avenue. So what we're going to do is we're going to come from here and we're just going to drag this down, because we're going to put down multiple power plants. I should probably link them up to one another. And yes, I use wind turbines for power poles because they just make dragging power poles across the planet so much easier. And it means I don't have to, like, you know, have some sort of special blueprint that powers up the whole planet and puts in major power lines, but I have to fly around the planet 3 times to make sure I've landfilled all the right areas and dropped the ores in all the right areas. We can just drag some power poles where we need them. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put down this exact same blueprint again. Drop that right there. Going to come to here, and we're going to clear that. Okay, so we have a second copy of this blueprint, and let's just remove these guys because I didn't want to remove that belt. Okay, let's look at a couple of things. So we've got 80% wind strength and 128%. 127%, 120 odd percent solar strength, and as you can see, we're making what's that? 36 megawatts worth of power. And as you can see, these are charging up. Now, because they're charging up, this is the important thing. Because they're charging up, they're consuming, you know, 7.39 megawatts. As they charge up faster and faster, or as they charge up more and more, they're going to actually require less power. And that number goes up intentionally. Oh, thanks. Probably because we're producing more power. Let's just cheat. And let's hook the 2 power grids together for just a minute. 41. Come on, you should drop down. Next. You're making a liar out of me. Alright, whilst we wait, let's put in our next type of power plant, which is going to be one of these, because we have one for, you know, that mid-late-ish game where we can make large amounts of deuterium fuel rods, but we obviously need something for early game where, well, hydrogen is the most abundant resource in the galaxy. So we should probably have a power plant that uses the most abundant resource in the galaxy and burns it. Is that a better way to do this? That looks like it would work way better for me. Perfect. Okay. So where are you up to? Still charging. Okay. Alright, can we get more? I can get one in there. I can get one in there. I can get one in there. Because hydrogen power plants do not produce a lot of power, honestly. Really don't produce a lot of power. So I'm going to max this out as best as I can. Hang on. Okay, let's put... Where was it? It was you and you back. Do I want to add one? I don't think we have to add one. Oh, well, there we go. Okay, we've hit the blue bar. Okay, so let's remove you. So yes, as you can see, we're at 7.61 megawatts. Hang on, are we maxed out power grid? We've maxed out power grid. Okay, we're producing 38.1. But as you can see, our demand, 197 megawatts is dropping down, 196. It'll drop down to 195. As the towers get more power in them, they're going to request less power. And they keep lying, making a liar out of me. There we go. All right. Oh, that missed. Let's get a power pole. No. Okay, 38, 37. Boom, 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 boom. So as their batteries actually fill up, they're going to require less and less power. So we can see straight away that currently my power. No, hang on. My power Let's click on a sorter. There we go. We're at 20% power. 20% power. That's the actually power pole. 21.2% satisfaction, which means the system will auto boot and auto kick in. So what I want to do is I want to bring in hydrogen. I want to go remote demand. We're going to put in that there. Now, this particular tower will need power. Okay, unless you have a way of actually forcing hydrogen to leave to come here, it's going to need some sort of power, normally to kickstart the system and get it running. Because most of your hydrogen comes from gas giants. Gas giants don't have ships in towers to be able to push resources to this tower. So in this particular tower's case, I'm going to max out its charging rate. I'm also going to drop the minimum load of vessels. So that they'll actually leave if they can find... Actually, we probably don't need to drop it that far. We're going to drop it to there, okay? They will leave once they can find 90% of a full load for their for hydrogen. So in my case, I've got fully upgraded ships. They carry 1,000 each. They'll leave after they can find 900. 900 is the amount that they're going to look for at the other end. We also need to put in drones in this one so it can actually fly the warpers around to any other towers that do request in warpers. And as you can see, well, considering it's a one-for-one blueprint of the previous version, everything else is set up exactly the same. Now, the other thing I love about this method, and something I do want to talk about, no power. It's because you're trying to charge too fast. Okay, so let's take you down to 60. Because you're at 60, these guys can get at least enough power to boot up. Once they boot up, we'll start burning off that hydrogen. Because we're burning off that hydrogen, let's click on a power pole. We only make 93 megawatts, and our demand is technically 180 because we have multiple towers. Now, it's not always 180, but until these are fully charged, it's going to be. Can we put that back just so we can speed up the... pretending it's been 20 minutes and things have had time to recharge. Let's max you out. Yeah, the power grid will get there in a second. I forgot how slow it was to fully recharge the tower. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to bump these towers down and we're going to halve their charge rate because they just charge up once and then they don't really do anything. So we might as well have them charge up really slowly. We're going to leave you at 60, which 60. I said 60. Try again. 60. There we go. Which means this is now, well, now that you're fully charged, and the other one's charging up very, very slowly, if I remove that, we can see that we're making almost 100 megawatts, and we're pulling out about 30, which means for outposting, this is not going to be a terribly strong planet, okay? It's not going to be a terribly strong amount that we can, amount of power and amount of towers and stuff we can put down in the default configuration. But as I did say, we can always add in another belt of hydrogen, loop it around the outside, and add some more hydrogen power plants. So I'm going to, again, let's duplicate, blueprint this, which will come all the way in and then go to there. We're going to have this pole, ooh, caps lock again, polar power, and it's a thermal, because we're going to use a thermal power plant. We're going to go to 22. This one, most people do recognize that particular building, so we're going to pop one of those there. I'm going to click Save Blueprint, because honestly, it's a thermal power plant. You could, if you didn't want to bring in hydrogen, and you had a whole bunch of energetic graphite, coal. Where's coal? Coal's not in the things I can craft. Coal, anything that burns, basically. You know, if you have oil, you want to burn oil directly, you could. I don't know whether it would be power positive, but it's an option. Okay, so with that done, we have both our separate builds down and blueprinted. Again, always available on Discord. Now, the other beautiful thing about these setups is we have 2 whole towers. These 2 towers are completely empty. This has free slots in it. I don't like to use those free slots. I like to use the other 2 towers first to bring in special request items, because the very first thing we're going to need is we're going to need miniature particle gliders. I need for today's mission, which I honestly do not think we're going to get done in one episode now. I'm going to need 120 particle gliders. Now, because I have ships at the other end that push to this system, I can put in whatever I'm requesting and just say request, and it should just magically show up. Okay, the other thing we're going to bring in is we're going to bring in fractionators, because I'm going to need a lot of fractionators, because we need to make particle gliders, which of course require deuterium. They require 10 deuterium per strange matter, which means we're going to need several belts worth of strange matter and fractionators and all that sort of fun stuff. Now, I guess the only thing... actually, we want to go to the other pole. No, we're actually at this pole. So let's do remote demand, and remote demand. That way those can fly in as well. We have that, so I want to clear that because I do not want more of those. And we have 100, we have 200. There we go. Okay, so let's start with finding a bit of blank ground. Look, it's going to be directly in this direction. We want to find sort of the equator. Seems like a good spot as any to start building. We're going to put that right there. We're, of course, because these are black box builds, going to break out the concrete. And then we're going to start talking about what we're going to try to accomplish with not a lot of time left on the episode. Okay, so we want to make... Why does it rearrange? I hate the fact that it rearranges from one to the other. Strange matter. Okay, strange matter is going to require particle colliders, particle containers rather, iron ore, and of course deuterium. Okay, on top of that, it's going to require warpers. There are base ingredients that we're going to require. Now, we did make a where are they? We did make a whole belt worth of particle containers. For the particular science count we're going for, I only need half a belt worth of particle containers, but that's okay, we made a belt already. So I'm going to plan around my strange matter, also taking in a belt's worth of particle containers. To bring in a belt worth of particle containers, because the recipe says so, for every particle container I bring in, I'm going to need it to bring in a piece of iron as well. So I need a belt worth of particle containers, plus I need a belt worth of iron, plus I need 5 times that amount for deuterium. So that's going to make things awkward. On top of that, I'm going to need 120 miniature particle gliders, which is a lot. Okay, so we're going to start with planning out some belts. Okay, we're going to bring in particles. And no, I don't want deuterium. I want iron. And straight away, because we have one belt, and then 5 belts, that is 30, 60, 150, 210. 210 items per second, which is well over what this tower can supply. We always aim to make our towers supply no more than 120 items per second, so we already know we're going to need multiple towers. What I really want to do is I want to try and plan things so I can get all of the particle containers and the iron out of one tower, hopefully get all the deuterium out of a different tower. Okay, so you're going to mean input. Okay, and then we need to decide, we should probably set the recipe just to save my headaches later. Copy, paste, let's turn that off and that off. And then we need to decide how long this build is going to be. And these are not small buildings, I might add. They're not small buildings, and they need a power pole. Actually, let's move you out of total. Actually, yeah, let's move you out of tile, and let's put a iron here, because power poles is something I forgot about. Because of how chunky they are, powering up particle colliders is normally very, very difficult. So what were you? You're an input, 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 input. And that does mean I can put a power pole about here. And let's just drag... Yeah, I can't fit a power pole anywhere in there. Okay, so let's just drag you guys out. 120. So in an ideal world... Well, that's... Oh no, that's not 15. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 15's out there somewhere. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's start with 10. 10 seems like a good spot to start. Okay. Alright, so we have 10. And 10 are going to consume... 10 are going to consume... what's that? Half a belt of deuterium. Okay, roughly. A little bit less. That's also going to be... actually, no, hang on. First off, we need an output. So you guys need to be able to send items back. Let's not hook that in just yet. Okay, so 10 of them are going to use 12.5 deuterium per second. A belt does 30, so 2 lots of that would be 25. It's not really a good divisible ratio that I like. Okay, let's do deuterium out. Run that to there. And then do a return belt, which in JD's philosophy we just run it long, so we know that's a future belt that we need to deal with. Okay, then let's put another one here. So that's 20. And we'd need 120. Wrong button. So that'd be 30, 40, 50, 60, and then double it again. Wow. Okay. Alright, I don't know how well this is gonna work. Alright, so we want to have a input and output, a output and input. Okay, that's the plan there. And again, for simplicity's sake, we're going to drag you out 10. These all might have to get lengthened to 15, at which point something at deuterium belts are not going to work because they won't have enough throughput, but that's a separate story. Okay, so then you're going to need to have, once again, particle containers. And once again, you're going to need some iron, which should be a case of drag that to there, drag that to there. Which means you have input, 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 input. No, I almost did it. Okay, we're definitely going to have to run this particular build with that on, just so I can keep an eye on it. I'll put a power pole there. Does that catch everything? So I need a power pole behind every single one of them. Okay, let's run the iron belt down. Okay, so then you need an input, and you need to have all your sorters removed. Input, input. This might end up being a case where, just because of the logistics... See, the only reason I was trying to make twice as many is, one, we needed 2 towers anyway. So it fit better around 2 towers. But it also means we could potentially, with one build, double the amount of graviton lenses that would be available in the network. Having twice the amount of graviton lenses, great idea. I love it. I love it. Very, very much is going to help out things and stuff. But oh my gosh, trying to get this build is a whole different story. So that's 20, 40. If we do another 2 belts, that'd make 60. Okay, so let's try another 2 belts. We'd have to bring out a deuterium, which would go out to here-ish. Then we do a return belt, which we know from previously means we run it long. Then we need another one of those. And then we need particle containers, which run down to there. Then we need iron, which does not have that kink there, and it runs 1 tile wide, so we can put power poles down the middle yet. So you would be a input, output, input, crap, output, input, yep, input, input. Go autosave. Input, input. Drag that down. And then we need a deuterium belt still, so hang on, let's go grab the deuterium. You don't have a deuterium, and you don't have a deuterium, and you don't have a return, and you don't have a return. Cool, we're off to a good start. Alright, so but we've got 60 of them. That is one chunky build. Okay, so let's answer some few vital questions. If I drag them... that's the end of our build zone, all the way up there. Now, do you at some point... exactly the same as the chemical plants. At some point, it changes the gap. Yeah. Okay. On top of that, we've already used... We've already used a lot of outputs out of this tower already. Okay, so in theory we only need 1 belt per second of both the particle container and the iron. Now, if I was using 1 belt per second, and we did some squilly-majig things, we could probably cut down the amount of belts input-output we had. Okay, so if I changed you to a particle container, no, left you as a particle container, removed that, ran that belt into there, moved that belt. So you guys have particle containers still, you don't have iron. And then I took this iron belt, ran it down the back, and then back up to there. So iron leaves there, goes all the way down, around the back and back up. It also means on this side, I could... So there's particle containers, I could change this one to iron, run the iron belt in there, and basically do the same. Have the particle containers, which are on... you go away, you go away, you go away, take the particle containers there, and a fly acre is fly. Run particle containers back up to here. Just trying to save myself inputs and outputs out of the main tower. Okay, but we've still used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I still have the return that needs to go somewhere. Actually, we could assume with some squirreliness, I could get that into... No. That tile? No. I can move everything back a tile and then have it merge in here at the center. That might work. I just have to reroute some belts again, but that's okay. That's okay. We could do that. And then to add... So your return is free. So we should probably talk about the deuterium in the room. So to do the deuterium, we'd have a tower at the rear, which would be just in charge of deuterium. That would be your sole purpose in life. And it would be to come to here, run up to feed that build, because you don't have deuterium at this stage. You're also going to need an output. So the build's only 10 long, but by the time I fly from one end of the by the time I stretch a belt from one end of it to the other, 10's long enough. Okay. So you'd be an input, output. Sure. I definitely wanted to make the whole tower disappear. Okay, try that again. Input, output. Okay. So input, it's powered from the node. From sorters are powered. We do it the other way around. You get powered, don't you? Yeah. So sorters are powered from wherever the head of the sorter starts from. So in the case of, because this is going that direction. Hang on, really? Oh, input. Output. Yes, because that's starting on the belt. It has power there. That should work. Okay, so let's drag... You guys already have internal sorters. Okay, so let's drag that all the way down. And then we can come to this side, do the exact same, run deuterium up to there, run the output past that, which means input, output. Yeah, that should work. Right, drag all that to there. that we've got that far, we know that this tower is going to have to move back one tile. Plug that back in, plug that back in, plug that back in, plug, sure. Plug that in there and plug that in there. Have a belt that starts up high, goes into there. That's going to be the strange matter belt, which means at that point we should be able to go sideways. And there as well. And there, perfect. And that means this one. Okay. In theory, at this point, the build works. So before we go too much further, let's actually let's power up the tower. Oh crap! I need to get power in the main network. Sure. Yeah, that works. Max, min, max. Put in ships, put in ships. That's all we'll do for right this second. Because these things chew a lot of power. Okay, let's do a copy of that without that. Oh, no, that's the exact thing I wanted. Copy of that without that, without that, without that. Paste. And I want those lines. And those lines. And I feel like I should have just done the top row at the same time, but you know, didn't actually have any pre-existing power plants, power poles. That is powering up the solar so just. Like, talk about scratching the very limits of the power network. There. What? You four not line up. Okay, I don't know what I hit. What target I was looking for when I put down the last lot. It would be there, and there, and there, and then it would be there, there, and there. Cool. Alright, so you would, same story, you need ships and ships. You need lots of charge, you need no charge, you need all charge. You need warpers, just 100, please. 100. Come on. It's a really hard target to hit, actually. And we haven't killed the power yet, but we will basically as soon as we turn this on. So, things that I'm going to have to do is I'm definitely going to have to add some power to this planet. That's okay. We sort of started this off as a... We started off this planet with some blueprints just to, you know, make sure we knew what we're doing and had some room to put down those blueprints permanently, because that's one thing I'm definitely doing in the series, making sure that every blueprint is a permanent structure somewhere on the map. Okay, so we're going to bring in all that stuff. Deuterium is going up. That might help. Okay. Deuterium. Yeah, deuterium's going brilliant. Okay. Alright, I am going to call this episode here. A little bit anticlimactic. I know. We need to, well, I need to do something about power. Which is the one that brings in power? You're the one who brings in power. I need to do something about power, which means I'm going to ruin this by bringing in antimatter and putting it in the rear, and then powering it up with, you know, suns, because suns are awesome, and suns provide the sort of power that we need for black box systems, especially when we're going through and designing multiple of them on one planet, one after another. Cool. So yeah, I'm going to add some suns, and at the same time, we obviously don't have any deuterium coming in, which means next episode we get to look at a fractionator setup. I do have one that we built previously, but oh, that's going to make all the power problems go away. Gigawatt. Yes, we do have one that we did previously. We've got a little bit. Yeah, a little bit coming in dribs and drabs. But yeah, we do have one that I did previously, but I think it needs a bit of a refinement, a bit of an optimization, bring it up to the same class as all the other black box builds. So, with all that said, I'm going to see you guys in the next episode where we're going to come back, we're going to keep playing with this, keep optimizing this, because deuterium is a giant pain in the bum. At the same time, I don't... Let's bring up copy. Yeah, I don't think I want to make it 120. Honestly. I really don't think I do. Yeah, I'm sort of happy with the size it is. The only thing... Actually, I'll have to see after it boots up. I maybe want to have just one tower do deuterium. What do we need? 2.5 belts of deuterium total. 250 per second. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, we'll call it here. Like I said, I'm wafting. I'm being indecisive. So, I'm now deciding we're going to end this episode here, and I'll see you guys in the very next episode. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. And as always, please tell your mum that Jetty said hi. That's it. We're out. Bye.